Nothing is guaranteed in life except technical issues. Honestly, I'm so upset it's not even funny. I literally just went on my lunch break and I meal prepped. Great. I meditated. Great. I had like 30 minutes left of my lunch break. I took like 2 hours lunch. And I went to edit this vlog because I was like, let me see what footage I have. And then I go check for my footage, the one I filmed 2 days before the fucking release. The very raw footage of me sitting down in front of the camera for the first time, which was so precious. Speaking about my last releases, and that footage was gone. I checked everywhere. I checked the bin. I checked both of my laptops. I checked my Google Drives. I checked my iCloud. I somehow managed to fucking delete it. So upsetting. Hi, hello. I was actually preparing for bed before I realized that, you know what, I feel like no better time to start this video than here. So let's start with going through my author journey and all the books I've published from the very start up until now. The road has been rocky. Many mistakes have been made and many lessons have been learned. So let's go and talk about the first series that I published. Welcome to my bedroom. Hi. My very first trilogy, the Precious Villain trilogy. And the first book was House of Pain. Oh baby, House of Pain. This is my dark academia, witchy fantasy romance that's super spicy, featuring super morally gray characters. Like, not a single person in this book is likable, okay? But this is a bully dark academia romance, and it was the book of my heart. Okay, I drafted it one summer in August. In a month, I was on crack. I was like really going at it. Poured a lot of money in these series, all of the books, but particularly this one, because I got this like cover designer who works with traditionally published books to do the covers, which were very expensive and unfortunately did not translate well. I also hired developmental editor. I hired copy editor. I hired proofreader. Okay. I essentially commissioned an artist do 4 pieces of art so I can include it in a book so I could market it. This is essentially my first fail. It came out in December 2022. I had a lot of people add it on Goodreads. I think it was like over 1,000 people added it on Goodreads. Almost 1,000 people requested arcs on NetGalley. However, that did not translate into sales. It wasn't in KU at first. I only enrolled it later. It's never kind of like made the money. The second book took me so long to write. I did have to like postpone the release dates. However, this one is the best book out of all. Like, people actually love this one the most. The reviews from people were kind of like mixed bag. Some people loved it, some people hated it. And eventually, because it was like a 3.5 star read on average, it didn't sell. And honestly, like right now, if I wrote this book right now, I would have written it differently. I have learned so much more about the craft, how to write characters and a plot. I would make it so much different right now. And I hope that one day I'll actually have a chance to rewrite it and make it better. The third book did not have very good reviews because it's the shortest one in a series, which is for the last book in a series is wild. But essentially, I just wanted to wrap it up as quickly as possible, and I wrapped it up a little bit too neatly and too quickly. So people did not have like a satisfying ending. However, this humble series that failed, it did gain me a small audience of readers. One of them, she's actually been with me since the start, like for years now, and she read all of my books. She always promotes them on her social channels and talks about them, and she absolutely loves them, and she's also one of my beta readers. So that's, you know, like that sort of like relationship I value a lot. So we come to the last of my endeavors, which is Masters of Blood. This book was the thing that fucking broke me. It was my biggest shame. It's the reason why I had more than a year between my last release and the upcoming release. Masters of Blood came out in the beginning of May last year, 2024. And essentially, people hated it. It has like barely 3 stars on Goodreads. I think like 3.2 maybe. It did the best in terms of sales up until now. However, the quality of the book was not there because of that. Readers did not like it, and they had every right not to. It's a Hades and Persephone retelling. It has vampires. It's like gothic setting. It's a standalone, spicy, kinky as fuck romance, right? Romantasy. When I was writing it, I loved it. Honestly, I love the story still. The mistake I made is that I was kind of like upset about my first trilogy not doing well, even though I invested so much money into production of the book. So I was like, let me try not to invest the money in the production, but invest the money into marketing to see what happens. And that's what I did. I got the cover done by my lovely cover artist that I still use to this day because she's phenomenal. I'm obsessed with this cover. The rest, I skipped the editing. I skipped developmental editing because I was like, I spent 3 or 4K per book last time and it did not prove to sell books. So I was like, fuck it. I've seen other indies not do that. And I've read 2 series particularly, I'm not going to mention which ones, they're super popular, where authors do not use editors. They simply edit themselves and then publish the books, and they're widely successful. And I was like, fuck it, let's give it a go. And 2 things, obviously there's a lot of like spelling and grammar and like just generally like quality mistakes. And then the main character, she is not up to the current FMC standards, which I understand. And I feel like if I had used beta readers or a developmental editor, I would have noticed that, but I didn't. It was such a humbling moment, and honestly, I was literally broken after it came out and I read the reviews. I took 3 months off the whole summer. I couldn't write, I couldn't even think about my author brand, and I was like devastated. While it was my biggest shame, I pulled it actually out of Amazon and cannot buy it anymore. You cannot read it anymore. And I have all the plans of rewriting it and republishing it because this story, I know this story is one that has potential to sell with very little edits and very little changes, whereas like House of Pain requires like heavier rewrites. This is kind of like a monumental book because without it I wouldn't have had like kind of that breakthrough and realize that, you know what, if I want to make this work, if I want to be an indie author, I have to sit down and come up with a plan and actually learn what it takes to be a successful indie author. This fail forced me to sit down in September and pick a new series that I will be working on. And essentially I made like a 2-year plan of like, how do I get from where I am to where I want to be, which is a full-time indie author. That was like almost a year ago. Right now it's like end of August. And the thing that's amazing is that I actually managed to be consistent for this whole fucking year. It has been the hardest thing I've had to do, and I'm by no means anywhere close to being a full-time author. However, I'm on the verge of having the best release of my career. And it only got me here because I had this failed, shameful mistake. I realized that I do not know anything about marketing, and I had a lot of assumptions, and I thought that I know better because, you know, like I've known marketing generally. Like I come from a marketing background, and I'm a serial failed entrepreneur. I tried a lot of different like online marketing things before I landed on like, you know what, I wanted to be an author since I was 12 years old. You have to do it, you know. Clearly, I do not know how to write a good book. I imagine that I know because, you know, like I get this like inspiration and feelings, and I was like, oh my God, like this is the story. However, just because you like writing stories don't mean that they're good, you know, and there are certain things that you have to learn. So even though I already studied Save the Cat by that point, and I, you know, like I knew all the story beats, I've like read all the craft books, I still didn't know how to fucking implement them. So for the last year, that's what I did. I took the book I wrote years ago, which was like the second book I actually drafted after I realized that I can be an author. And it was the book of my heart, but I knew that it was not in the shape that it needs to be. So I spent the whole year rewriting it. Welcome to my little workspace. How did you know the past and like where I've been as an author over the last 3 years, I think? Let's talk about the upcoming release that I have in 2 days. She's not good with math. Wait, if it's today's Sunday, it's coming out on Tuesday. Well, technically 2-3 days. It's been a little bit over a year, as I said, since my last release. So I've been really preparing. The title is Vicious Princess, and it's the first book in a 4-book series called The Trials of Death and Honor. It's a romantic fantasy. It's set in the world where humans, fae, and dwarves live together. It's super spicy. Well, super spicy. I would say like 3 stars. Some of the like reviewers who already and ARC readers actually said it's more like 3 stars. However, if you like slow burn kind of sex, it's not gonna be for you. It's been the hardest book I've ever written. I've written quite a few books. It's not my first one. It's not, you know, like my second one. So like if we go back to lessons learned from like the failed release of Masters of Blood and House of Pain series. When I sat down that September to make a 2-year plan, so I split my journey in like 2 parts. One was marketing, and like I told myself I need to learn what it is that indie authors do to market their books that makes them successful, because marketing is a little bit different for traditional published and indie author world. And then I needed to learn how to write a good book. How to write a book that not only I enjoy, however, like readers are gonna love from start to finish. I took courses, I read so many fucking posts, I watched so many YouTube videos. I've actually invested the time into learning both. So I had like a little group of readers who've, you know, read my books, and I have an email list, and like I send out email newsletters. And I asked if anyone wants to be my beta readers, because I realized that to produce a good book, I need to have people who tell me how it is. And I've never worked with beta readers before. I have worked with developmental editor. However, because I already spent so much money and I was operating in the red, I couldn't afford to pay $4,000 fucking dollars for a developmental editor, even though I think it's essential. So I was like, let me get a group of beta readers to start with. And that decision has been the best decision of my fucking career. Having beta reader feedback and having someone to kind of like discuss certain things and how they feel, what they think when they read it, has been invaluable. Vicious Princess was not Vicious Princess when I started, it was Blood Queen. After I rewrote the Blood Queen, I submitted it to my beta readers. They came back to me and they were like, it's a solid 3-star read. And I was like, 3 stars is not gonna fucking cut it, okay? After some like feedback and like discussion and brainstorming, I realized that Blood Queen is a second book in a series. There has to be the first one to kind of like introduce readers into the world, into character of Phoenix, and like the whole her character arc. So I sat down and drafted fucking Vicious Princess. And then I gave it to my beta readers, and the feedback was much, much better. And I was like, this is the one. Obviously, I write to market. I write to market because I want to make this into a full-time career, and I enjoy putting together a book that's marketable, sellable, that's fun. I did a lot of different things for marketing and stuff, and I'm not gonna get into that because I want to like emphasize, I think I should have said that at the start. I'm not here to teach you how to be an indie author. I'm not here to give advice. I'm here to share my journey. Nobody's probably watching, and that's fine. I want to document the journey. I wish I started it earlier. I wish I documented from the very fucking start, so I would have the library to look back and be like, oh my god, this was me. Because me in 2022, when I first published House of Pain, is not me right now. And I feel like me next year, when I'm gonna finish this series, the Trials of Death and Honor, I'm not gonna be the same person I am today. So I'm here to share my journey. That's it. Now, while I was going on about that, I forgot what I was talking about earlier. Oh yeah, because Vicious Princess hasn't come out yet, I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna go. Like, that's why we're documenting it in real time, right? So I can tell you so far what's telling me that this might be actually a positive review. First of all, I have a very solid marketing plan, and I've like used ChatGPT to help me set expectations as well as like review what's working, what's not. I also have like 3, I think, ARC teams, maybe 4, based on that and the feedback and all the hype and messages and DMs on social media. It looks like readers are loving it, and this is the first book that has over 4 stars on Goodreads. I'm like panicked about it every single morning. I check it religiously. Well, it's on NetGalley, and the performance, like the requested, it's been like in the most frequently requested top 5 pages for both romance and then sci-fi and fantasy. Actually, what never happened to me before is I set it for a pre-order, and we have like 146, I think, pre-orders I checked this morning, which is mind-blowing. For an author without a name to get to this place, it's phenomenal. Actually, this morning I checked Blood Queen, the second book in a series, is already up on Amazon for pre-order, and somebody already pre-ordered it. I was like, oh my god, I haven't even announced the fucking incentives for the pre-order for Blood Queen, and somebody already fucking pre-ordered, which is like honor. It actually showed up as the #1 release in one of the categories on Amazon, which was mind-blowing, and it stayed there for like 4 days. And then it showed up in like the top 20 for that specific category, just like in general list, and that was mind-blowing. Never happened to me before. So I feel like these kind of like little signs show me that this book might be actually resonating with readers much more. You're here with me, and I will take you through this journey to see where we are and where we land, so you can actually see for yourself whether this is going to be a good release or not. Oh my. I'm actually nervous because of the past and the failed releases, and I feel like the only thing that helps me share this is because I know that nobody's gonna watch this video, because this is gonna be the first video on my YouTube channel, so like nobody will find it. Whether I fail again or I succeed or it just goes neutral and doesn't matter, like at least I have the documented process, you know? That's that. Happy Sunday morning. I love Sunday mornings. It's my favorite fucking time of week. This might have been the most hectic video you've watched on YouTube, but we got there in the end. I kind of wanted the first video on my channel to be like a recap of the author journey that I wished I filmed from the very start. The best time to start was yesterday. The next best time to start is today, or whatever the saying goes. Honestly, I feel like the latest release of Vicious Princess has gone much better than other releases, and I documented the whole thing. Keep an eye out for the release month vlogs, because I have 2 coming up. I'm so excited for this new journey, a new season of life of documenting stuff and seeing where we go. Bye!